idea what was really happening here. Using an unorthodox fighting style and losing, Humphrey likely felt as big a fool as he looked. Hardly the best showing for a servant of their new lord, but that's our intent with this charade, isn't it? Shaking off William's hand, Humphrey got to his feet, tightened his grip on the sword, and declared his readiness to continue.
Again, the rest of that cask is mine, dear brother.
Ha! Some fight left in you after all. Very well, then. Come at me, brother, and taste defeat. Drogo was so engrossed by Humphrey's renewed onslaught that he almost didn't hear the clerk speaking at his side. The little man's meaningless chatter went unnoticed until he stopped talking for a few breaths, then switched topics altogether.
How much time does it take to learn that?
Drogo glanced at the clerk, amused by his slack jaw and wide eyes. Fighting to keep his face impassive, he returned his attention to his brothers. Careful now. Don't show them everything, he thought. It depends on the man, Drogo replied. William and I find no one here in the south is our equal, but you cannot judge such things on a practice field. In battle, the true measure of a man is in how fiercely he protects his life, and that of the man next to him. My brothers and I have been fighting each other since we could first hold sticks of a reasonable length. Soon after we started playing at war, our father set us against decorated posts for a full year, calling out strokes and maneuvers at us until we shouted them back with each blow. Drogo let the image build in the clerk's mind before continuing, savoring the richness of the memory for himself. Standing tall next to William as they became full knights, taking their buffets without a sound, and then feasting throughout the night. With Humphrey's hungry eyes watching, eager to join us in father's respect. Humphrey still had that same hunger, but it was controlled now, harnessed into something wondrous. By the speed of their blows, Drogo knew both men were deep into their rhythms, no longer thinking about how their arms moved or where the next blow would land. His brothers moved through form after form, catching and returning blows almost too fast to see. Just watching it awakened the same spirit in his heart, and Tancred's voice came back to him from a field many years away.
When it is time to act, you must act, not think. The sword is in your hand. The hand is part of your arm. They are not separate things. They are one with your mind. Let nothing distract you from your opponent. He is between you and the rest of your life, and you must move past him to see it.
How to describe that day in the rain to this clerk, with his ink-stained fingers and embroidered sleeves? Father coming at them with a drawn blade, pushing both boys back through the mud as they blocked each strike until they could no longer feel their arms. For each blow they caught on the edge of their swords, the next one's force doubled. When they moved the strong part of the blade into position for a proper catch, it lessened. Drogo knew now what took so many blows that day to figure out. With each swing, Tancred invited his sons to strike back at him. The lesson ended when William accepted the offer, and given how much rain fell in Hauteville, more likely than not, Humphrey had learned it under similar conditions. Humphrey's strong left arm certainly had no hesitation now. William's more agile shield gave him an advantage on the left side, but in this fight neither man used their shield to stop a blade. Instead, they waged a battle with all parts of their bodies, feinting, pushing, and spinning across the courtyard, startling birds as they went. When it happened, Drogo almost missed Humphrey's move. It started as a standard strike at William's sword arm, one he caught and moved aside with little effort. But then Humphrey spun his sword, placing its flat side against his older brother's weapon and diving forward. The reckless move made William take an involuntary step back. Humphrey's next maneuver pressed his brother's sword against the round shield, and then a follow-up blow from the kite forced both into William's chest. Off balance, spinning away from the blow, William grunted as Humphrey's edge slammed full across his back and drove him to the ground.
Result?